So I hope that some lawyer sees this, really, that's following the case, the Lively versus Wayfarer versus on this, and can tell me what's up. Because, listen, I am not a lawyer. I'm just a regular person. I don't claim to know anything. I don't know anything, okay? But I can tell you this. I have eyes, and I can read, and I can think for myself. I don't speak legally. But even I understand that what Judge Lyman was saying is like, okay, so go do your homework. Do this. Whatever portion of costs, that were Blake's, whatever it cost Blake Lively only, not Ryan, not Leslie Sloan, not anybody else, Blake Lively herself, not the husband, okay, Blake, not she Ryan, to defend herself against the countersuit that Baldoni did that was dismissed, that lasted 5.5 months, and only for one claim, okay, because it had several causes of action. One claim, defamation. It has to be 4 things have to be followed. She has to be a prevailing defendant. The only case in which she prevailed by the skin of her chinny chin chin was the freaking dismissed lawsuit. The second thing, it has to be defamation. A prevailing defendant in a defamation action. Okay? So defamation only. That's why he said one claim. And then it has to be reasonable and it has to be necessary. So luxury stays in New York in the best hotel ever, that's not necessary. Catering and meals like breakfast in bed and stuff like that, that's not reasonable. That's not necessary. Ezra Hudson having stayed in the Beekman or the best hotel ever in New York, is that necessary to defend Blake Lively against this thing? Like, how is that necessary? I don't know, but make it make sense, right? And again, they have to show basically, did Ezra fly to New York? And if she did that, was she represented Blake, Ryan, and Leslie? If so, take out the cost from Leslie and Ryan and leave me what Blake's portion is. I want to know that. Those are the burdens that need to be, met in order for the cost to be awarded. Blake did none of that. Instead, she was like, no, well, not her, the lawyers, but, she takes authorship. She Ryan. So the lawyer is over here, Gottlieb, going like, actually, the law forbids it because a proportionate is not allowed. No matter how you spin it, like he's going like, it's not just this one claim, a particular claim, but it says litigation. It don't matter if he twists the words and argues semantics. Blake Lively was not a prevailing defendant anywhere else. There's nothing else that she could possibly, nothing. It has to be related to this one thing. And he forgets. But that's besides the point. The burden was. Let's take the exhibit that was submitted by that expert or whatever with all the costs, right? Well, let's talk about Exhibit B. It was 162 pages worth of itemized cost. Out of 162 pages, only 10 pages had invoice numbers like this. From page 153 all the way to 162, they actually, like the line item, actually included invoice numbers. All these invoices were paid. It shouldn't taken anything else, much more effort than just forwarding those invoices that were already paid along this, at least at the bare minimum, but they didn't. And the rest of the pages look like this with 0 invoice number to reference, to back it up, no receipt. Even if we take this just for face value, going like, okay, it's legit. Even if we did that, these amounts, for example, Ezra Hudson travel to New York for client meetings in February. It's $653.91. Unless, how is that Blake's portion? Does it cost 3 times that to fly domestic from LAX to New York? It doesn't seem like that, right? So they're billing for the whole thing. They did not meet the burden of showing the judge, hey, this was the cost, here's the invoice, but we took out only Blake's part, and here it is. They could not even do that. You know what that reminds me of? Remember that Victoria Burke was talking about, I can't remember if it was in an interview or where, I need to find that clip, but at some point, she said that she met Blake Lively, and that Ryan and Blake were looking at how could they include Ryan under 47.1 and the lawyer Ezra. How can they, like all those fees, how can they put under 47.1? I think this is it. Victoria was like, heck to the no, right? Like that's meant for example, if a mother was being falsely, accused of defamation, she spoke up about SH, and to defend, this action or whatever against the defamation countersuit, then she had to miss work, she had to pay a babysitter, that kind of stuff. That's what it's meant. It's meant for the victim, not for the lawyer. And attorney's fees, so that I guess so, because so the mother, so the victim, the woman, the man, whoever it is, the harassed person, the person who was harassed or a victim of SA, that they don't have to deal with the cost that that they incurred by defending themselves against this absurd thing. It's not meant to be abused. It's not meant for Ezra Hudson to have lunch at the Market Carts or stay at the Big Man in New York. Did Ezra Hudson stay in a room that is like $3,000 or $4,000 a night? Or why is it $1,433.42? What it seems more reasonable that it costs $1,433 a night, right? Rather than 3 times that. So it tells me that they didn't separate the cost. They didn't third it or whatever it was supposed to do. They're including Ryan's cost in all of this and are showing no proof, not meeting the burden of reasonableness and it being necessary. Not meeting the burden of a prevailing defendant against a defamation action under 47.1. Ryan is not. The judge requested this and they did not do it. They chose not to. In contrast, look at the New York Times. Look, their audacity has audacity, but at least they are not as crooked as I thought. Look. They provided outside counsel invoices and record of payment. They also provided in-house counsel hours log. They provided case law, 2 of them. This is the ledger for the in-house counsel. Reasonable amounts of hours. Here's an invoice of 37, one of 37 that they provided for outside counsel, with receipts showing that it was paid. They're at least meeting the burden. So the expert that signed is not even a lawyer. And Esther's practically perjuring herself in a declaration saying that these costs are reasonable because they're not, nor are they necessary. So is Lyman supposed to trust that? Trust me, bros from lawyer. Only 10 pages have invoice number. The rest? Some entries are for monitoring social media, not during the time of the dismissed lawsuit. Some things are actually for reviewing the New York Times stuff. Nothing to do with a prevailing defendant, blah, blah, blah. So we're about to find out if Lyman is corrupt or not. Because if he did the right thing, he would dismiss this. Just like Baldoni did not meet the burden for malice, Blake Lively has not met the burden for a prevailing defendant, defamation lawsuit, reasonable and necessary cost breakdown. None of it is showing that it was actually extracted only her portion. None of it. In my opinion, allegedly.